Wait, before you crack open that egg for breakfast, let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered if the way you eat eggs could actually be hurting your health instead of helping it? I know that sounds surprising because eggs are everywhere. For many seniors, they're the most common breakfast food. Scrambled with toast, fried in a pan, boiled and sliced over a salad. They're cheap, packed with protein, and often called nature's multivitamin. But here's the part no one tells you. If you're not careful, eggs can quietly work against you. The way they're cooked, stored, or even combined with other foods can increase cholesterol, strain your heart, or expose you to dangerous bacteria. And for older adults, where the immune system and metabolism aren't as strong as they once were, these mistakes can be far more harmful. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, and I've spent over 20 years caring for seniors through preventive medicine and nutrition. Again and again, I've seen patients who thought they were eating healthy, but small everyday choices with eggs were slowly chipping away at their health, causing fatigue, raising blood pressure, even putting their heart at risk. That's why today's video is so important. We're going to uncover the 12 dangerous mistakes seniors make with eggs. Mistakes you may be making right now in your own kitchen without realizing it. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to enjoy eggs the right way so they protect your muscles, strengthen your brain, and support your heart health instead of quietly putting you in danger. So, before you make your next breakfast, let's dive into the very first mistake seniors must avoid. Mistake number 1, believing egg yolks are bad for the heart and avoiding them completely. For decades, many of you were told that egg yolks are dangerous, that they reloaded with cholesterol and will clog your arteries if you eat too many. I can't tell you how many times I've had seniors look at me in the clinic and proudly say, "Don't worry, doctor, I only eat egg whites. I never touch the yolk." They believe they're protecting their heart. But here's the truth. Avoiding yolks completely is a big mistake. Yes, it's true that egg yolks contain cholesterol, about 186 milligrams per yolk. But what most people don't know is that the cholesterol you eat doesn't affect your blood cholesterol as much as we once thought. In fact, the American Heart Association now says that eggs can absolutely be part of a heart-healthy diet for most people. More importantly, the yolk is where the majority of the nutrition is found. Let me give you some examples. Choline. Yolks are one of the richest sources of this nutrient, which your body uses to make acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter critical for memory and brain health. Seniors who get enough choline have a lower risk of dementia. Lutein and zeaxanthin. These are powerful antioxidants that protect your eyes from age-related macular degeneration and cataracts, the leading causes of vision loss after 60. And guess what? They're found almost entirely in the yolk, not the white. Vitamin D, essential for bone strength and immune function, yet many seniors are deficient in it. Yolks are one of the few natural food sources of vitamin D. Vitamin B12, crucial for nerve function and red blood cell production, also concentrated in the yolk. When you throw away the yolk, you're losing all of these protective nutrients. You're left with just protein from the white, which is good, but not nearly enough for your brain, bones, and eyes. There's also strong scientific evidence to back this up. A large study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed over 177,000 people across 50 countries. The researchers found that eating up to 1 egg a day was not associated with an increased risk of heart disease or stroke. In fact, for many people, moderate egg consumption actually supported heart health because of the unique combination of nutrients in the yolk. So why does this myth persist? Because back in the 1,970 seconds and 80 seconds, cholesterol was seen as the main villain for heart disease. It took decades of research to show that saturated fats and processed foods are far more harmful than the natural cholesterol in eggs. Unfortunately, many seniors are still living with outdated advice, and they've been missing out on the benefits of yolks for years. Here's my advice. Don't fear the yolk. For most healthy seniors, 1 egg a day is perfectly safe, and it can even be protective. If you have high cholesterol or heart disease, it's best to talk with your doctor about your individual limits. But for the majority, the benefits outweigh the risks. Think of it this way. An egg white is just protein, but the yolk is like a multivitamin for your brain, eyes, and bones. By avoiding yolks, you may think you're protecting your heart, but in reality, you could be starving your body of the very nutrients that keep you sharp, strong, and independent as you age. So the first mistake to avoid is this. Don't throw away the yolk. Embrace it, enjoy it, and let it nourish you because your body needs more than just protein to thrive after. Now, let's move on to the second mistake I see far too often. The belief that eating as many eggs as possible will automatically build stronger muscles. I know where this idea comes from. For years, bodybuilders and athletes have been shown on TV cracking open half a dozen eggs for breakfast, drinking raw yolks like in the movies, or eating omelets the size of a frying pan. It created this belief that if you want strong muscles, more eggs must always mean more strength. But here's the truth. Your body has a limit to how much protein it can actually use at one time. Eating more and more eggs doesn't mean your muscles will grow stronger, especially after 60 when the body processes protein differently. Let me explain. A single egg has about 6 to 7 grams of high quality protein, which is excellent. But research shows that the average senior only needs around 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal to stimulate muscle repair effectively. That's the equivalent of about 3 to 4 eggs, not 8 or 10. Anything beyond that, your body simply can't use it efficiently. It either gets stored as extra calories or excreted. I remember one of my patients, Mr. Johnson, a 72-year-old retired firefighter. He told me proudly, "Doc, I eat 6 eggs every single morning, 3 before my walk and 3 more afterward. Got to keep my muscles strong, but when we checked his blood work, his cholesterol was high, his weight was creeping up, and he wasn't actually gaining muscle. He was just adding unnecessary calories his body didn't need." Science backs this up. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that older adults gained the most muscle strength when protein was evenly distributed throughout the day, not when they overloaded with huge amounts at one meal. In other words, quality and timing matter more than sheer quantity. Another important point is balance. Eggs are a wonderful protein source, but they shouldn't be your only one. Seniors need a variety of proteins like fish, lean chicken, beans, nuts, and dairy to get all the essential amino acids and nutrients. Focusing only on eggs can leave you missing out on other important compounds like omega-3 from fish or magnesium from beans and nuts. So how many eggs should seniors realistically eat? For most healthy adults, 1 egg a day is safe and beneficial. Up to 7 eggs a week can fit into a balanced diet. If you're physically active and need more protein, you can have 2 eggs at a meal, but balance it with vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats. Here's the bottom line. More eggs don't always mean more muscle. Your body can only use so much at a time. After 60, what matters most is consistency and balance. Spreading protein evenly throughout the day, combining eggs with other nutrient-rich foods, and avoiding overload that can strain your heart and metabolism. So don't fall into the trap of thinking you need half a dozen eggs every morning to stay strong. Instead, focus on the right amount paired with other healthy foods, and your muscles will thank you without putting your health at risk. Now, let's talk about the third mistake, one that might surprise you, eating eggs too late at night. For many seniors, a late night snack feels comforting. Some heat up a boiled egg before bed. Others scramble an egg with a slice of toast. It seems harmless, even healthy. After all, eggs are protein, right? But here's the catch. Eating eggs too close to bedtime can disrupt your digestion, your sleep, and even your heart health. Here's why. Eggs are a dense source of protein and fat, which take longer for your body to break down. At night, when your metabolism naturally slows, this heavy digestion process can cause discomfort, things like bloating, indigestion, or acid reflux. I've had many patients tell me, "Doc, I thought I was just getting older and couldn't sleep well, but when I stopped eating eggs at night, suddenly my sleep got better." Research also supports this. A study in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine found that eating high-protein, high-fat foods late in the evening was linked to poor sleep quality, especially in older adults. Instead of getting the deep restorative sleep your body needs, you may find yourself tossing and turning, waking up often, or feeling groggy the next day. Another important factor is blood sugar. While eggs themselves are low in carbs, pairing them with bread or processed meats late at night can cause spikes and dips in blood sugar. For seniors managing diabetes or prediabetes, this nighttime habit can make glucose levels harder to control. And let's not forget the heart. Late night eating, whether it's eggs or other heavy foods, has been shown to raise the risk of high blood pressure and heart disease over time. Your heart works around the clock, but eating heavy meals before bed forces it to work harder when it should be resting. I once worked with Mrs. Thompson, a 68-year-old grandmother who often boiled an egg at 10 p.m. She told me it helps me sleep, Doc. But when we looked closer, we found her late night egg habit was contributing to her nighttime acid reflux and restless sleep. When she shifted her egg consumption to breakfast instead, her symptoms improved dramatically and she had more energy in the morning. So, what's the solution? Enjoy your eggs earlier in the day. Breakfast and lunch are the best times to eat eggs because your body has the energy to digest and use those nutrients for muscle repair, brain function, and steady energy. If you want a protein-rich snack before bed, consider lighter options like Greek yogurt, warm milk, or a small handful of nuts. These are easier on digestion and can even promote better sleep. The bottom line is this: eating eggs late at night may seem harmless, but for seniors, it can disrupt digestion, blood sugar, and sleep quality. If you want the benefits of eggs, keep them to your morning or midday meals. Your stomach, your heart, and your sleep will thank you. Let's move on to the fourth mistake. And this is one I see in kitchens all across America. Eggs by themselves can be one of the healthiest, most affordable foods for seniors. But what happens when you load them up with too much salt, bacon, sausage, or ham? Suddenly, that healthy breakfast turns into a heart hazard. Here's why. Most seniors already eat more sodium than they should. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day for older adults. Yet, the average American eats closer to 3,400 milligrams, more than double the safe amount. And where does a lot of that sodium come from? Processed meats like bacon and sausage, and even just a pinch more of table salt. When you add these to your eggs, you're not just boosting flavor, you're raising your blood pressure, straining your kidneys, and putting more stress on your heart. For seniors with hypertension, which affects nearly 70% of adults over 65, this can be a recipe for trouble. I'll give you an example. One large slice of bacon contains about 200 milligrams of sodium. Add 2 slices plus a sprinkle of salt in the frying pan, and you're already hitting 500 to 600 milligrams before you even count the eggs. If you add cheese or butter, that number climbs even higher. That's nearly half of your daily limit in one meal. And it's not just the salt. Processed meats are loaded with saturated fats and nitrates, both of which have been linked to a higher risk of heart disease, colon cancer, and stroke. A major study in the British Medical Journal found that people who ate just one serving of processed meat daily had a 20% higher risk of early death compared to those who ate little to none. That's a sobering statistic, especially for seniors trying to stay healthy, independent. I remember talking with Mr. Carter, a 74-year-old retired teacher. He told me, "Doc, I've been eating bacon and eggs every morning for 40 years. It's my favorite meal," but his blood pressure kept creeping up despite taking medication. When we looked at his diet, the culprit was clear: the salt and processed meats. Once he swapped the bacon for vegetables like spinach and tomatoes with his eggs, his blood pressure began to improve and he felt less sluggish in the mornings. So, what's the alternative? Season smartly. Instead of reaching for the salt shaker, try herbs and spices like black pepper, paprika, turmeric, or fresh parsley. They add flavor without harming your heart. And instead of bacon or sausage, pair your eggs with vegetables, avocado, or even smoked salmon in moderation. These choices give you nutrients, healthy fats, and fiber that actually support your health instead of hurting it. The key takeaway is this: it's not the eggs that are the problem, it's what you put with them. By avoiding excess salt and processed meats, you can transform eggs from a risky meal into a heart-healthy powerhouse. Now, let's move on to the fifth mistake. And this one happens in almost every household I visit. Keeping eggs in the refrigerator door. It seems so convenient, right? Most fridges even come with a special egg holder built right into the door. You open it, grab an egg, close it again. Simple. But here's the problem. The refrigerator door is actually the warmest and most unstable spot in your fridge. And for seniors, this simple storage habit can increase the risk of foodborne illness. Here's why. Every time you open and close the fridge, the temperature in the door fluctuates dramatically. Instead of staying consistently cold like in the middle shelves, the eggs are exposed to warmer air over and over again. This repeated warming and cooling makes eggs spoil faster and raises the chance that bacteria like Salmonella can grow. And Salmonella is no small matter. According to the CDC, it causes about 1.35 million infections and 420 deaths every year in the United States, with seniors being one of the most vulnerable groups. What might feel like just a stomach bug for a younger person can send an older adult to the hospital, or worse. I remember one of my patients, Mrs. Lewis, a 70-year-old grandmother who loved making scrambled eggs for her grandkids. She always kept her eggs in the door just like her mother had taught her. One summer, after eating eggs that weren't cooked all the way through, she developed severe food poisoning that landed her in the ER. Thankfully, she recovered, but it was a wake-up call. She told me later, I had no idea where I kept my eggs could make such a difference. Food safety experts agree. Eggs should always be stored in the coldest part of the refrigerator, ideally in their original carton on a middle or lower shelf. The carton helps protect them from absorbing odors and prevents moisture loss. Most importantly, it keeps the eggs at a steady, safe temperature, 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees or lower. Another tip, don't wash your eggs before storing them. I'll talk more about that later, but washing can remove the protective coating on the shell and actually make bacteria easier to enter. So what's the lesson here? Convenience doesn't always mean safety. Storing eggs in the fridge door may look neat and organized, but it can put your health at risk, especially if you're over 60 and your immune system isn't as strong as it once was. The simple fix is this. Keep your eggs in their carton. Place them in the middle of the fridge and forget that door compartment was ever meant for them. Your stomach, your immune system, and your peace of mind will thank you. Now, let's move on to mistake number 6. Eating raw or undercooked eggs. Some of you may remember the old days when athletes and bodybuilders would drink raw eggs straight from the glass, thinking it gave them instant strength. Or maybe you've enjoyed a soft-boiled egg with a runny yolk, homemade mayonnaise, or even cookie dough batter. It feels harmless, even nostalgic. But here's the truth. For seniors, eating raw or undercooked eggs is a dangerous habit that can lead to serious illness. The biggest risk here is Salmonella infection. Eggs can sometimes carry Salmonella bacteria inside the shell, and you can't tell just by looking at them. When eggs are eaten raw or not cooked thoroughly, those bacteria can enter your system. For younger people, it might mean a few rough days with diarrhea and stomach cramps, but for older adults whose immune systems are weaker, Salmonella can cause severe dehydration, hospitalization, and even life-threatening complications. The CDC estimates that Salmonella causes over 26,000 hospitalizations and 420 deaths in the U.S. every year, and seniors are among the most at risk. That's why food safety experts strongly recommend that older adults avoid raw or runny eggs altogether. I'll share a story. One of my patients, Mr. Harris, a 69-year-old retiree, loved dipping his toast into soft, runny yolks. He told me, "Doc, I've been eating them this way since I was a boy. It's my comfort food." But last year, he ended up in the hospital with a severe Salmonella infection after eating eggs that weren't fully cooked. What started as mild stomach pain quickly turned into dangerous dehydration. He recovered, but it was a scary reminder of how vulnerable seniors can be. So, how do you protect yourself? The rule is simple. Cook eggs until both the yolk and the white are firm. That means scrambled eggs should not be runny, fried eggs should be cooked through, and boiled eggs should not have soft liquid centers. If you're making dishes that traditionally call for raw eggs, like Caesar salad dressing, Holland sauce, or homemade ice cream, use pasteurized eggs instead. These are heated just enough to kill bacteria without cooking the egg, and they're widely available in most grocery stores. Another tip, when baking, resist the urge to lick the spoon or taste the raw cookie dough. Even one spoonful can expose you to harmful bacteria. The bottom line is this: raw or undercooked eggs are not worth the risk, especially after 60. The small joy of a runny yolk or raw batter is nothing compared to the risk of days in the hospital or long-term health complications. Cook your eggs thoroughly. Use pasteurized eggs when needed, and you can enjoy all their benefits without putting your health in danger. Let's move on to mistake number 7, eating cracked eggs. I know it's tempting. You open the carton at the store or at home and see one egg with a little crack. You think, it's just a small crack, no big deal. I'll use it right away. Many seniors don't want to waste food, especially something as valuable as eggs. But here's the problem. Cracked eggs are an open door for bacteria, and eating them can be far more dangerous than you realize. When the shell of an egg is intact, it acts as a natural protective barrier. It keeps out bacteria, dirt, and other contaminants. But once there's even a hairline crack, that barrier is broken. Harmful bacteria like Salmonella can slip inside through the cracks. And because the egg looks mostly normal on the inside, you won't know it's contaminated until it's too late. The FDA and USDA both warn against eating cracked eggs for this very reason. According to food safety experts, eggs with cracked shells are significantly more likely to harbor dangerous bacteria. And for seniors whose immune systems are not as strong, the consequences can be severe. anything from food poisoning to hospitalization. I remember Mrs. Daniels, a 73-year-old widow who prided herself on never wasting food. One morning, she made an omelet using a cracked egg she found at the back of her fridge. Within hours, she was violently ill, and her daughter had to rush her to the ER. She told me later, "I thought I was being thrifty, but it nearly cost me my health." Here's another thing to consider. Cracks aren't always visible. Sometimes the egg has tiny, almost invisible hairline fractures that you may not notice, especially if you buy in bulk or don't check each egg carefully. That's why it's so important to inspect your eggs before buying them and again before cooking. So what should you do if you find a cracked egg? If it cracked on the way home but is still clean and fresh, you can crack it into a bowl, cook it immediately, and make sure it's thoroughly cooked. No runny yolks, no half-cooked whites.